Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Stephen Hawking's 1993 collection, Black Holes and Baby Universes, represents a singular artifact in the history of science, communication and theoretical physics, assembled from essays and lectures spanning from 1976 to 1992. The volume captures a brilliant mind during a period of profound intellectual ferment. It followed the monumental success of A Brief History of Time, yet this work offers a more granular, technically inflected, and at times deeply personal window into the author's evolving worldview. The text functions as a multifaceted document, presenting autobiographical narrative, philosophical meditations on the nature of scientific inquiry, and intricate explorations of the cosmological frontier. This essay will undertake a direct and rigorous evaluation of the specific claims, arguments, and conceptual frameworks presented within the key sections of this collection. The analysis proceeds chapter by chapter, treating each as a distinct intellectual proposition, assessing its internal coherence, its methodological underpinnings, and the evidence marshalled in its defense. Our purpose is to dissect the work as presented, illuminating the architecture of Hawking's thought and evaluating the sturdiness of its construction for an audience versed in the rigors of academic discourse. Section 1, My Brief History as Intellectual Framing. Hawking initiates the collection with an autobiographical essay, a strategic choice that functions to establish his intellectual and personal ethos. The claim embedded within this narrative is one of continuity and intellectual destiny, portraying a life path inexorably leading toward the confrontation with the universe's deepest questions. He presents his diagnosis with motor neuron disease less as a tragedy and more as an ironic catalyst for his theoretical work, a development that focused his mind away from the experimental and toward the purely cerebral. In evaluating his section, one observes a masterfully constructed persona. The evidence provided is anecdotal, tracing his academic journey from Oxford to Cambridge, his early interest in cosmology, and his pivotal decision to work with Dennis Sciama. The specific claim that his physical condition sharpened his theoretical insight is unfalsifiable, yet its presentation is central to the book's project. He positions himself as a mind liberated from physical constraints, able to roam the cosmos through pure reason. This narrative framework is a claim about the very nature of his scientific authority. Its evaluation depends less on empirical verification and more on its rhetorical effectiveness in preparing the reader for the ambitious and often abstract arguments to follow. He forges a link between his personal struggle for survival and communication and humanity's intellectual struggle to comprehend the cosmos, lending a powerful humanistic weight to the abstruse physics that constitutes the book's Section 2, The Public Perception of Science and its Didactic Aims. In his second essay, Hawking advances a clear claim regarding the possibility and necessity of public scientific education. He posits that the fundamental ideas of modern physics, even those expressed in complex mathematics, can be conveyed effectively to a lay audience through analogy and conceptual narrative. The core of his argument is that a society increasingly shaped by science and technology requires a populace with a working knowledge of its core principles to make informed democratic decisions. He evaluates his own success with a brief history of time as evidence for this proposition. The methodology he advocates and employs throughout the collection involves the careful excision of equations in favor of rich, visualizable metaphors, such as the surface of the Earth representing a finite yet unbounded universe. A critical evaluation of this claim reveals its powerful and optimistic vision. He asserts that the public's appetite for knowledge is vast and that scientists have a duty to meet it. The evidence he presents is the commercial success of his prior book, a compelling yet incomplete metric for genuine comprehension. The framework is one of civic responsibility, where the scientist assumes the role of public intellectual. A subtle, secondary claim is that this process of simplification can yield new insights for the scientist as well, forcing a clarification of thought. The enduring strength of this section lies in its articulate defense of scientific outreach as a core component of the scientific enterprise itself, a claim whose relevance has only grown in subsequent Section 3 is the end in sight for theoretical physics as a grand unified theory. This section presents one of Hawking's most audacious and optimistic claims that the discovery of a complete, consistent, and unified theory of physics is a plausible achievement within the foreseeable future. He frames this as the ultimate goal of science, a single set of laws from which all physical phenomena could, in principle, be derived. His argument rests on the historical trajectory of physics, from disparate domains to the unification of electricity, magnetism, and the weak and strong nuclear forces in the Standard Model. The next logical step, he argues, is the incorporation of gravity. The specific framework he champions for this grand unification is string theory, which was at the time a highly promising yet mathematically formidable and empirically unverified candidate. He evaluates the progress in theoretical physics as an asymptotic approach toward a final truth. The evidence he marshals is the accelerating pace of discovery in the 20th century. A rigorous assessment of this claim must acknowledge its speculative nature. Hawking presents the quest for a theory of everything as a finite project, a position that many physicists and philosophers of science would find contentious. His argument minimizes the profound conceptual chasms that remain, particularly the measurement problem in quantum mechanics and the nature of dark energy, which was then a less pressing issue. The power of his claim resides in its sheer ambition and its capacity to inspire, presenting physics as a heroic quest with a definitive endpoint, a modern-day search for the Holy Grail in the form of an elegant, ultimate equation. Section 4, the titular thesis on black holes and baby universes. Herein lies the collection's most speculative and iconic scientific proposition. Hawking addresses the black hole information paradox, the profound conflict between the predictions of general relativity and quantum mechanics. The central claim is that information about matter falling into a black hole is permanently lost to our universe. However, he proposes a mechanism to preserve the overall determinism of physics. He argues that this lost information might tunnel through a quantum gravitational process into a separate, self-contained baby universe that branches off from our own. The conceptual framework for this claim is Euclidean quantum gravity, a theoretical approach that involves a mathematical transformation known as a Wick rotation. This technique treats time as a spatial dimension, represented by an imaginary number, which allows for the smoothing of spacetime singularities and the calculation of probabilities for different spacetime histories using Richard Feynman's sum over histories method. The mechanism he details is one of quantum tunneling, where the collapsing black hole creates a microscopic wormhole leading to a new, expanding universe. In evaluating this claim, its highly theoretical nature is paramount. There is no direct observational evidence for baby universes. The argument's coherence depends entirely on the validity of the Euclidean quantum gravity framework, which is itself an unproven and debated approach. He is essentially proposing a solution to a paradox generated by the intersection of two theories, general relativity and quantum mechanics, with the tool Euclidean quantum gravity derived from their tentative synthesis. The brilliance of the argument is in its conceptual elegance and its attempt to reconcile fundamental principles, yet its foundation rests upon layers of unverified physical assumptions. It represents a bold leap of imagination, a testament to the creative power of theoretical physics operating at the very edge of knowledge. Section 5, the question of determinism and the sum over histories expanding on the quantum mechanical underpinnings of his cosmology. This section makes a subtle claim about the nature of reality and causality. Hawking argues for a form of determinism that is compatible with the probabilistic nature of quantum mechanics. His argument is that while we cannot predict a single, certain outcome for any event, the universe as a whole evolves according to definite laws. The framework he employs to articulate this is, once again, The Feynman sum over histories, he explained that a particle travelling from point A to point B does not take a single path instead. It simultaneously explores every possible path, and the probability of its arrival is calculated by summing the contributions of all these histories. The claim is that the universe itself operates on this principle. The future is a spectrum of possibilities, yet the laws governing that spectrum are fixed and absolute. In essence, God does not play dice with the universe's fundamental laws. Even if the outcomes of individual events appear random, the evaluation of this philosophical claim derived from a physical model is complex. He successfully explains the sum over histories model as a powerful predictive tool. His extension of it to a statement about universal determinism is a philosophical interpretation. He presents a universe where unpredictability at the micro level coexists with lawfulness at the macro level. The strength of the argument is its internal consistency within the chosen quantum mechanical interpretation. It offers a coherent picture that sidesteps the classical notion of a clockwork universe without surrendering the idea that the cosmos is fundamentally governed by unchanging physical principles. Section 6, Reconciling the Arrows of Time. In this ambitious chapter, Hawking attempts to unify the three distinct arrows of time: the thermodynamic arrow, the direction in which entropy increases; the psychological arrow, our subjective experience of time passing; and the cosmological arrow, the direction of the universe's expansion. The central claim he puts forth is that the psychological and thermodynamic arrows are fundamentally linked, and that both are determined by the cosmological arrow. He argues that intelligent life, and therefore the psychological perception of time, can only exist under conditions where the thermodynamic arrow points in its familiar direction, as the processes of memory and metabolism require an increase in disorder. The most controversial specific claim in this section is his proposition, based on his no-boundary proposal, that if the universe were to cease expanding and begin to contract, the thermodynamic arrow of time would reverse, entropy would decrease, and beings in this contracting phase would live their lives backward relative to our own experience. His evidence for this is a symmetry argument within the wave function of the universe derived from the Hartle-Hawking state. A critical evaluation reveals this claim as one of his most famous, and one he later retracted. The argument, while conceptually fascinating, faced significant criticism. Subsequent analysis by other physicists showed that the initial low entropy conditions required for a forward arrow of time would not necessarily be mirrored at the point of maximum expansion, meaning the thermodynamic arrow would likely continue in the same direction even in a contracting universe. The chapter thus stands as a powerful example of the scientific process in action, showcasing a brilliant and elegant hypothesis that ultimately yielded to further theoretical scrutiny, a testament to the intellectual honesty required at the forefront of the field. Section 7, the Hartle-Hawking proposal and the quantum state of the universe. This section details what is arguably Hawking's most profound and enduring contribution to theoretical cosmology, developed with James Hartle. The chapter's primary claim is the no-boundary proposal, a hypothesis about the initial conditions of the universe. It posits that the universe has no initial boundary or edge in spacetime. The framework for this is once again Euclidean quantum gravity and the sum over histories. To eliminate the singularity of the Big Bang, a point of infinite density and curvature, where the laws of physics break down, the proposal utilizes the mathematical tool of imaginary time. In this formulation, as one goes back in time toward the beginning, the time dimension gradually transforms into a fourth spatial dimension. The universe's origin becomes a smooth, finite geometric point, analogous to the South Pole on the surface of the Earth. Just as the South Pole is a point with no boundary, the universe, in this model, begins without a singular starting line. A claim is that the wave function of the universe can be calculated from a sum over all compact, four-dimensional spacetimes, that have our present-day universe as their only boundary. An evaluation of this proposal must recognize its immense conceptual power. It provides a self-contained model for the universe's origin that dispenses with the need for an external cause, or a moment of creation. It makes the universe a product of the laws of physics alone. The evidence for the proposal is its mathematical elegance and its ability to resolve the singularity problem. However, like the baby universe hypothesis, it remains empirically untestable and relies on the speculative framework of quantum gravity. Its status is that of a powerful and deeply influential paradigm, a mathematical model of cosmic origins that has shaped the direction of theoretical cosmology for decades, even as its physical reality remains an open and profound question. Section 8, The Future of Humanity and the Cosmos. In the concluding essays, Hawking shifts his focus from the deep past to the distant future, making a series of claims about the trajectory of humanity and intelligence. He argues that the laws of biological evolution are being superseded by a new, faster form of evolution, the transmission and development of external information, from books to computers. His central claim is that for humanity to ensure its long-term survival, it must eventually expand beyond Earth. He posits that the risks of self-destruction through war, environmental catastrophe, or destruction by an external event like an asteroid impact make a single-planet existence precarious. The framework for this argument is probabilistic and Malthusian. A species confined to a single habitat is statistically doomed over sufficiently long timescales. The evidence he provides is a logical extrapolation from known risks and historical precedents. A further claim is that our scientific and technological progress, particularly in genetic engineering and artificial intelligence, will fundamentally alter what it means to be human. He speculates on a future where humanity might redesign itself to better cope with space travel or to enhance its intellectual capabilities. An evaluation of these claims shows Hawking operating as a futurist and a public philosopher. The arguments are based on logical inference and trend extrapolation rather than rigorous physical theory. Their strength lies in their clear-sighted rationalism and their willingness to confront uncomfortable possibilities about our species' future. He presents the outward expansion into the solar system and beyond not as a romantic adventure, but as a pragmatic imperative for survival, a logical conclusion drawn from a cosmic perspective that sees planetary life as a fragile and precious anomaly. Conclusion. In summation, Stephen Hawking's Black Holes and Baby Universes stands as a complex and intellectually rich document, a detailed portrait of a theoretical physicist engaging with the most fundamental questions of existence. The collection's claims range from the deeply personal to the cosmically profound, from the philosophically resonant to the technically speculative. The evaluation of its internal arguments reveals a mind consistently employing a specific toolkit, primarily the Feynman sum-over histories and the framework of Euclidean quantum gravity, to push the boundaries of known physics. His arguments for the public communication of science and the grand project of unification are powerful statements of principle. His more technical propositions, such as the reversal of time's arrow in a collapsing universe and the existence of baby universes, demonstrate an extraordinary intellectual audacity, even if their specific claims have been superseded or remain deeply speculative. The work's most enduring scientific contribution detailed within its pages is the no-boundary proposal, a paradigm-shifting concept that offers a mathematically coherent, self-contained model for the universe's origin. The value of the collection, assessed as a whole, lies not only in the durability of each individual claim, but also in its transparent display of the scientific mind at work. It unflinchingly presents the triumphs of insight, the creative leaps of imagination, and the necessary course corrections that define the frontier of theoretical physics. It is a work of both science and intellectual autobiography, a historical record of bold ideas that continue to provoke, inspire, and shape our quest to understand the universe.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, Please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.